So let me start. What I want to go over today is majorly what most people get confused about in trading, and what can make or break your account, basically your trading. What differentiates you from being like successful and profitable. So which is entries. We're going to go over entries. I have like two major ways how I enter the market. And I have two major ways how I enter the market, and I'm going to be sharing one, at least a part of one, because I can't really fully go into everything finished tonight. But what I'm going to be sharing with you is going to really help you in pinpointing where to enter your trades. So what I trade and how I trade is pure price action. Price action means, if you look at the term price and action, it's like the action of price, like what price is doing currently. Okay, so no matter the system or the approach that we are going to use to enter the market, we want to see what price is doing at that time. That would help us to time our entries better and to like see what's going on. So I'm going to be using the 1 hour time frame and 15 minutes time frame. So normally I do my markups and analysis on a higher time frame, and then scan the entries on a lower time frame. Okay, so but I'm going to just use one time frame for this video. Excuse me. So I'm not going to go over what major structure, minor structure, the in-depth of like weekly structures and supply and demand areas and support and resistance areas and all of those, how to spot them. I'm just going to assume like everybody that watches this already knows how to use those things and how to spot them, how to spot your order blocks, how to know. I would assume like you already know what support and resistance is, and you already know the break of structure. You already know what momentum is. You already know your engulfing patterns, your M and W formations, your chart patterns and all of that. So you already know those. So let me start with, I think for gold, let me just use 15. So with things like gold, US 30, we gold and indices and things that have like high volatility, you want to use a lower time frame for everything anyways. You want to use a lower time frame, but for things like gold, you want to drop down to like 15 minutes, and that's why I use 5 minutes for it. But 5 minutes is really fast. I recommend you using 15 minutes. You're able to master it. And when we go over this, you don't just go to the charts on Monday when market opens and start. I want to backtest this. That's why I'm going back like this. You don't just start using it. You want to be able to practice it, at least practice 10 of these things on like 5 different pairs, and then use 2 different time frames. So that way you have your like back testing time in. Okay. So hold on. Oh, did I just go back? So hold on, I'll get it now. Let me pull. Okay, so let's just use again. So now this type of entry is called the breaks and retest. Okay, and I'm majorly going to be using looking for key levels. Key levels are where support turns resistance, and vice versa. Okay. So and resistance turns support. So you are looking for things like, where are all my tools? Okay. You're looking for things like this. So this is resistance. You already know that resistance is the highest point that price reached before coming back down. So there's a rejection at that resistance, and then support is the lowest point that price reached before going up. So if price goes up like this and then comes back down, this resistance has now turned support. So for support, let's say price was here, this support turned resistance. So that's just like a basic explanation as to, you know. Did you get that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So but you know, when you are trading, you want to look at which support, which resistance, where are we looking at to break? Because when the market is moving, it's moving live, like it is what is happening right now. So you don't have this replay tool. You are not like waiting to see what happens after. It's literally life or death. It's literally like you know, quick. You have to take decisions based off of what you already know. Okay, so it's a situation where you don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows what is going to happen. And that's why backtesting is very powerful. I highly recommend it. You subscribe to TradingView and then you use it to like test your skills, because right now I don't know what's happening over here. I'm just going to use you know, my approach to trade. And I'm just going to say something, that when it comes to entries and trading in the market, there is no one way to actually do it. A lot of traders have been able to come up with like different different approaches and different ways and different perspectives to how they can enter the market. Some people would use they use smart money concepts. A lot of people use Wyckoff, which is also linked with that. A lot of people use footprints. Some people just use different things that, you know, are overcomplicated. Some people use bots, some people use indicators when stuff is crossing stuff each other. But this is literally just pure naked charts, just what price is doing right now. So for every break, you should always know the rule, like for every break, you should look for a retest. So if you've taken, if you've watched any of my videos or, you know, any of my teachings on the topic, especially when I went over market structure part 2 in the course, I went over what is like the break of structure and how to spot your point A to point B. So just to go by like how you can understand what a break is. A break is when something moves out of that position that it was before. It moves out of that area aggressively. So when you're talking about aggressive push, is the type of candlesticks that are formed. So if you understand what a candlestick is, it's telling you information between buyers and sellers, right? So when you have an aggressive push, so for instance, you have an aggressive push of sellers here, the candlestick is full. Like it's a large candlestick, is engulfing, it's really large, it has a lot of momentum on the inside, meaning we have large presence of sellers in the market. And note that anytime you want to take a trade, you always need the momentum to be in your favor. Always, because if you are here right now and you are looking for buys, it's not going to work, because it's not going to last, because the sellers are literally taking over this entire trend. And if you understand how to read momentum, you'll see that this place, buyers have been losing their grip here, and it's like they just gave their last push like here. So it's very important that you are able to read what price is saying in that moment. So for example, let's start here and we have something like this. So support, this is an area of support here, right? This is support here. So it's like almost everywhere. So you want to use the freshest zones of support. When you're talking about support, you're talking about where you have buyers. When you're talking about resistance, you're talking about where you have sellers. So let me cancel that. Sorry. So now when I'm trading, I'm looking at where has been broken that needs to be retested. Okay. So first of all, understand the basic knowledge of it before using it on multiple time frames. That's why I'm going to just stick to this time frame. So we had this impulse move down, and I'm going to need more information here. And another thing with getting your entries is if you don't see it, you don't trade it. Okay, if you don't see it, you don't trade it. All right, so this would have been let me think in this. I use pink for my I use a pink stick rectangle for my minor structure. That's 15 minutes, 30 minutes downward analysis. So I'm going to be using this pink rectangle tool. You can also use a trend line like this. You can also draw a line here to draw your support and resistance, whatever tool works for you. Yeah, you can take in it like that. So whatever tool works for you is fine. So now this is a level of support. If I'm really trading, I'm going to be looking at how price reacts when it comes back to this place, although I'm aware that this is just like a new zone that formed. And what gave me the impression to look at this place? Number one, price broke structure. So you want to look at where price broke out of and if it actually broke the structure. I really don't know where all these things are. Okay, here, down here. Bro. Okay. If price broke structure and the structure that I broke was around here, so this impulse move was a break. So we had a break and then we had this little support area here. And I'm thinking price needs to retest that area. So I'm not going to enter for a sell anywhere here. I'm going to wait for price to come up to that area, because in trading, the general rule of trading, investing, or anything is to buy low and sell high. So if I'm looking to sell, where is the nearest highest place that I'm looking to sell? Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So now that price is around this area, I want to watch, the kind of how the candlesticks are reacting, because candlesticks, they give you information of who is in control right now. So I saw like it was going up here. We had like the bulls were in control here till they got to this area where they are supposed to react. So I started seeing bearish reaction. And the only way to enter the market anyways is after you have your confirmation, you enter, you press the buttons that allow you enter, and then make sure you have your stop loss in a your risk management in place. So I enter this trade around here and just put my stop loss above here. Yeah. But I understand that this is a 15 minutes time frame and price can easily break it. So remember my stop loss is around here and this already did the break of structure. And how would I know where to get out of this trade? What? Okay. I draw my Fibonacci and then I look out for either this level here, this 0%, if I enter that high, on this negative 27.8%, and then here, that's how I get out of that market. So yeah, that's one trade. You leave the trade alone, and then the trend already started again. Another trend already started again. If I go down to 1 hour, this impulse move was just like the first break of structure for a 1 hour in this downtrend here. So 1 hour also created okay, I said I won't switch time frames. Sorry. Bad habit. So okay, where was the other nearest support? Let me see. In case you don't understand, please let me know because I might just go over you. Just be talking. Okay, so here now I'm looking at the type of downtrend that this made. I've taken out my profit. I'm out the market, right? So, and I see that price created on its way down, created liquidity above here. So when I took my profit, I know that price needs to come and test this level. But remember I told you I have two ways I enter the market, right? I look at some specific candlesticks, which I'm not going to mention because I already put it inside a course and it's for the privilege of those that eventually take the strategy course, right? And it's extremely simple and I'm actually looking at it right now. I'm waiting for price to go over here and test this, but I won't be so quick to enter around here because just because I can see what happened around here. But ideally, if you are using break and retest and you enter here and your stop loss is just above, you just have to sit in a bit of drawdown, and then price will go your way. Okay, so it didn't go to where I was looking at specifically and it respected this zone here. Okay, so like I mentioned, nobody knows what's going to happen in the market. You just have to take it step by step. So when price came here and you saw a lot of exhaustions, another thing you need to understand is how to look at the candlestick exhaustion. So when I spoke about the psychology of candlesticks, that they tell you the information between buyers and sellers, you need to understand how wicks form. And I think I have a video on YouTube when I was teaching some people, I think it was even Francisca, when I was teaching you guys how to, what candlesticks are. I was talking about where here buyers are in control, sellers are in control, stuff like that. Can give you a little insight as to who is in control at that point in time. So this kind of candlesticks that are forming here, and then price, respected the entire area. Again, you use your fib. It was just completing that, and then adjust my fib level. You can see that this aligns with the 61.8% of Fibonacci, which I would have drawn out earlier also to see. So hold on. 2i alpha.
Can see.
All right, so we were here at this level, and then price hits the first take profit level. So at this point, I'll also move out of the market. Why am I leaving and not waiting for price to hit here? Even though I know that since price had already touched the 61.8% level, it has a high probability to come to this negative 61.8. But, you know, remember I was already in this trade here. The first push down, I already went out. That's like 157 pips. Okay. And then this one here now, that's like another 140 pips. So when you are trading, you always want to take your money and leave the market. I mean, that's why you are trading anyways. And this is on a lower time frame, and this works on every time frame. So if you are not, if you are not like a day trader, if you just want to catch like one trade in the week and you're like a swing trader, you can do this on a 1 hour or a 4 hour time frame. It's still the same concept, right? It's just that this 15 minutes, it takes lesser time for you to do this break and retest, break and retest. Before 4 hours would have done this, would have done like 4 times, but it's still the same thing, like it's still the same concept. Okay, so please give me a minute. Let me switch my devices again. All right, so at this point, if you missed this entry, you can rejoin around here and put your stop loss above. When you are putting your stop loss, you want to put it above the last high. So how I always do it is like I look at this other, trend, the previous trend before it, the last, in this case, downtrend, the last lower high, and then I put my stop loss above that area on the chart, and then just set an alert if price is going to come back. If price is going to touch it, I'll just receive the alert and close my trade. But you can always set it on your MT4. Well, so this came down and came to retest this place another time. So if you did not close it or had time to check it, it's still the same thing. But price can do whatever it wants and come to respect an area more than once. Okay, so there we have it. So now we are at this level of support here. So let me make this faster so that okay, price is always reacting to something, always. So now wait, let me just play. Let me pause. So price is always reacting to something, right? We had remember what I said, like for every break there is always like a retest. So in as much as we've worked with all these minor structural breaks and retests inside, we've taken like 3 trades in this downtrend right here, right? And this is like minor structure, like really looking at it and taking trades like that. We had this entire zone here, which is like a 1 hour area. If I look at it, that never got retested. Okay, and even this this area that got tested, price can still have like can still come back to it. So when I see this buy side now happen after this zone was tested, price here broke structure, And this is why I use Fibonacci a lot. I see where price stop, and then you can see is at both levels that we have the take profit. So we can have a reaction off of this zone. Let me make it blue. I know we have 15 minutes, but yeah. I have a reaction here, and then if it's coming down here, I'm going to wait and see. So this is what I'm thinking, like I'm going to wait and see. I'm going to wait and see what it's going to do. I'm not just going to enter for a sell around here, especially since I know that this is liquidity that is forming, even though I know it's still going to continue its downward, it's like downtrend. And if you draw an overall fib on this trend here, you would see that is sitting around the 61.8 level. But as long as the fib does not go outside 100%, it's still valid and it can still keep, going up. So just because it's sitting around 61.8 here, so let me delete those ones on the inside so that you don't get confused. Let me adjust this. Okay. Here it's around 61.8 of that overall structure. So we can say that this is, for those that I teach, you already know that I always say price does impulse correction continuation. So this is like an overall, trend. So this is one impulse on a higher time frame. All right. Everything we did, the 3 trades that we took earlier was just to take advantage of this entire impulse move. One can, definitely enter around here and close here. But, because of day trading, you can, like I did it earlier. Can you please mute? Thank you. So price can keep going higher. So we already have that bounce. Hold on. So we touched the 78% zone, 78.6%, which is also this level over here. And how did I know that this wasn't going to stop here? But because of liquidity, okay, you have to look at how the price action is forming. Fine, we're around here, but we had a lot of wicks that are around that are, in this area. And this is kind of like an M formation. I know that, you can quickly take profits and scalp this, but, I also had this negative 27.8% of the previous uptrend structure that price had not hit, which also aligned with the area that I'm looking at. So normally support and resistance is not just like a line or something, it's an entire zone. Okay, all this place is an area where we have price reaction, previous price reaction. But because we don't want our chart to look like crazy. Yeah. So price came here and reacted off of this area. Even if you had entered straight at this blue zone and your stop loss, what am I using to do that again? Your stop loss is around here. Okay. And then your take profit is all the way down. Your stop loss wasn't hit, although it would have been close to it. So if you don't have like a good psychology and you're like say, oh my god, so let me just get out of the trade and this thing, you miss out on your whole move. Okay, so now we had that move down. If you missed that, you can find the nearest support level here. Okay, so you just do it over and over again. Trading is repetitive, and the reason why you will stay successful if you do the same things over and over again. But it's not like a strategy. You can always wait and see how price reacts to some. So while I'm drawing this, I am seeing and I am aware that this is also here. Okay, so I look at how price comes back to test this level. It's gonna be that fast. All right, so we have created an M formation here. So our liquidity is around here. So we are definitely coming higher again. And yeah, that's what it did, came down. So even with this trade, oops, sorry. Even with this trade, you know, I see that price closed below the 38.2% level, and then you take profit at CP1. How many pips is that? Like 184 pips on gold. So like that, like that, like that. Do you understand? I want to switch up and do the buy side of it because, you know, we had some good moves. Do you have any questions so far?
No, ma'am. No.
Okay, so everything is clear. You understand it.
Yes, ma'am. At this part.
Okay, so yeah, I just realized like I always tap to create new trend line, horizontal lines. So if you know how to use trend lines, you can also use it. So give me a minute. Let me switch again. Yeah. Your support.
For a retest,
Yes.
yes. For a retest of the support area, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so yes, it's not a must for you to have like what you want to see at that point in time, and it's great that you did not enter the trade because that showed that you are disciplined and you did not jump in. There are times where people can get lucky and enter the trade and jump in, but it is better to be consistent than to be lucky. Okay, so your support did not test, your trade didn't, you didn't have a valid retest for you to enter. A retest happened on another time frame that you were not looking at, but because it wasn't happening on your time frame, it wasn't valid for you. So if, for example, now you had you were waiting for your own retest around this area, let's say this was the trade you were waiting for and then it had already gone down and dropped, you already missed this entry here, right? If you still have more room and you still think like it still has more room to go down based off of your analysis, like how I drew this Fibonacci from here down, and I know that okay, at least it's going to come to this zero or this negative 27.8, I look for another entry. I take my mind off this previous one and then just look for another level where it can test again. All right.
Okay.
So, and another way, you know, is why are you doing entries, by the way, Francisca?
No, not really that I was entering. Like I was just looking through and all of that. But if I
because I just wanted to explain something and I'm like, you won't get it. But okay, just for learning purposes, right? Using support and resistance, you can find another entry, another thing where it's it will come back and test that level again and see how we react. You know, we'll always have breakup structures like this one that moved down. Now let me delete this so you can see clearly. This one that moved down here like this, you had this impulse move, it broke this structure. So yeah, you know that, okay, we can have a correction of that. So you will again wait for it to come to that area and just enter. Sometimes you might be too scared and everything, but just enter, right? You might, over perfectionism might be coming into it, but if you see it, you trade it. If you don't see it, don't trade it. So the fact that you didn't see what you were looking for, you didn't trade, that's fine. That's really awesome. That's building you as a really, really good, consistent trader. But just make sure it's not your fear and it's not, you know, you holding you back, like, I need to see the perfect thing, right? So as you can see, even if somebody had entered early in this place, you'd have been in drawdown and be frustrated because price came back here to test. But if you know how it reacts, that it didn't really test this place very well, right? It didn't really test this support here as at this place. You see that moments later, that's a few hours later, like 14 hours later or so, it came back to test it. Okay, so this is where your patience comes in. You've noticed, like, I'm waiting for something to do something. Once it doesn't do the second or third thing I'm looking at it to do, in the most case, I don't take it. And there are some, like, I just take it anyhow like that. But that's because I've calculated my own risk and see if I'm willing to take it. So yeah, so let me do the buy side of things, and I'm going to use Euro USD for that. And with Euro USD, so that this video is not that long, it's already long anyways. With Euro USD, I'll use the 1 hour time frame, so that we are able to catch, you know, extra pips. You can use 30 minutes. Gifts, can you mute? Oh, sorry, it's not you, gifts. Hi. I did look before I said gift. Gift to be like,
My mic is always me before now.
Okay, so let's go over Euro USD quickly. So let me use the buy side of this on this 1 hour time frame. Okay. So with trading, like I always say, if you want to, it's like farming. If you want to be a better trader every day, you need to understand everything that involves with trading. Doesn't mean you are going to use every single thing when you're analyzing, but when you look at the market and see what is happening, you're able to bring out something, right? So this particular thing I'm sharing is about breaks and retests, how to really enter the market using breaks and retest. So here we were in a previous downtrend, and again, you always want to look at what happened before, like looking left, looking at what happened before, okay, to see how to be able to, you know, move forward. So we had this downtrend, and I started to see bullish action here, but you see that price came, this is 1 hour now, came to this resistance area. I respected that resistance area there, created liquidity along the way. So liquidity video is still on YouTube. We went over it, right? So tested out liquidity. So I won't have taken this trade because it wasn't clear enough around this area, except I dropped down to to a lower time frame. So now that I have this impulse move, where did price break past and didn't retest? Of course, this entire resistance zone. We had a minor retest here, but it's not enough. This entire resistance zone. So if price is coming down, coming back down, I'm waiting to see how it reacts around this area. Okay, and we also have this trend line for me here. Sorry. Hold on. So I'll try this trend line here. Right. So wait for price to come down. Another thing that usually helps me is I kind of try to measure this retest here. Can you guys hear me? measure the retest of what it's doing. I don't necessarily have to trade that retest. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma, but it's just that it's breaking a little bit, sha. Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
it's not clear. It's not that clear. Yes, ma.
I'm saying like the network is something. Hold on. It's going to break for 1 minute. I'll just switch. um
Come on. This network problem, man.
okay. All right. So the thing is with my Wi-Fi, whenever it rains, it's always very shaky and it just goes off. So let's continue. So I drew a trend line here. Just waiting for a bounce around that area. So what I also did was to measure this small retrace. Okay, so to see where price will come back to. So I'm waiting for it to come back to test this resistance that it left. All right, it didn't do in this area. It didn't come back here to retest. What it did was respect the demand zone, but no C, no retest, no trade. So now that we've that didn't happen, I wait to see another level that it respects this level here. If I had missed that, I measure this trade and see where price is going and where it is heading to. So currently at the second take profit level, clearly I would have definitely missed this trade. I won't be able to enter it. So I think it's kind of like what Francisca was saying, that it didn't retest well, blah blah blah. You see, so you won't be able to take this using this approach. So now anytime price is at this negative 61.8% level on major structure, we are expecting price to change direction, at least for that time being. I'm also seeing, so I see a break of that minor, a break of structure here. So we look for, this is an uptrend, right? But won't take advantage of what just happened. See where price to respect around this area. So they didn't respect it. So again, we'll wait and see what's happening. Okay, so let me adjust my fib. Can you tell I don't trade Euro USD that much? Wait and see what's happening. So what price is around this 23.6% level here. And then I can see here that we had a retest of this previous support area. So sometimes you need to just really look into detail as to what's happening. So for us to be able to continue this buy, we need a valid breakout of this place and a retest to take it up. But for now, price is trading under that area. And because I am looking for buys, I wouldn't have taken that. But if I was going to switch to the sell mode, I think this just happened recently, right? Yeah. Which was actually the same way I looked at this market, like wow. I don't know who remembers Diana, anybody, Yejide. This happened like recently because I was like, I'm seeing Euro USD is around 23.6. Seeing a buy on it. So just wait for an aggressive buy. So just wait for price to break out or something. right? It's so funny because now that I'm redoing it, I'm actually seeing the same thing. Okay, anyway, so let me try GU. Let me try GBP USD and then we close for the buy direction. And let's use 30 minutes for this. So you can stick to one time frame and wait for price to do what it has to do. Okay, just make sure you are patient enough and you know what you are looking for. Excuse me. It's like a lot of things have been really selling this past few weeks, few months. It's been like a really bearish market. Okay, I think we can work with this. Okay, so downtrend. I see how far this downtrend has gone. It's going, see, like it still has negative 61.8 to go to. I'm seeing divergence form on it. Okay, sorry, we're not talking about that right now. I just want us to focus on this. So now I'm seeing some bullish action from this bearish action. So I'm seeing candlesticks that are bullish that is forming, and a strong momentum is forming on this, and price finally made higher lows. Okay, so now the main place resistance that I'll be looking at to break is here. Okay, so to break and retest at is around this area. So that's not a valid break that it did. What would have been a valid break is price pushing away from it. So remember in the beginning, I mentioned like a break is when price literally push away from that area. Okay. And also you also have to know how to position your support and resistance to very well so that it will give you the information that you need. The most frequent questions that I get asked is, what's the difference between support and resistance and supply and demand? I personally just put my support and resistance, you know, at the bottom or at the top of that price action. Okay, and then my demand and supply is the details that is occurring inside. So like for example, this mini entire area, a whole zone, is how I place like my, you know, supply and demand. And I can go into details how to use supply and demand to catch all these things, because some of the things that we are missing from this support and resistance is happening. Price is just testing a demand area, but you don't have to catch every trade. You just wait for the ones that you can catch and then move on with that. So since we were not able to do that, we pick another one here. Basically, what I just want to show you is how to trade the breaks and retest of, you know, minor structures and major, depending on your time frame. So this is really aggressive, and again, didn't come to test that level. You measure the price to see where price has gone. Take it from this high to this low to this high here. And then this is an entire impulse move on its own. Where did the price come out from again? Here. Okay, here. So we are waiting on a correction of this move itself. You wait for a correction around here and see how price respects that zone. So this is with trading. If you don't see it, you don't trade it. You just leave it alone and go to another pair, right? So this actually was consolidating around this area, and this is probably a weekly zone or a monthly zone. This chart is not marked up. This is why I mentioned also that you need to be able to have your tools in place to understand what is really going on. But I would, if I was taking this, I would have waited, for this around here to come down and retest, because it broke out of this zone and it has not retested. It has not retested that area. Aside from playing inside this consolidation, which is something you would learn to do if you are consistent with your chart and everything, because you can definitely make pips here. Okay. Yeah, so just so I don't make this extra long, let me pause. You would know what, so that you will know what to look out for. First of all, you need to understand your breakout structures. You need to understand the momentum of candlesticks of price. Then you need to understand your fresh, or you can say untested, support and resistance zones. Then you need to be mindful of the time frame that you're trading on. So it is highly recommended that you always enter the market with lower time frames. Okay, you enter from like 1 hour below. If you also decide to enter with 1 hour, that's fine, but you enter like from 1 hour below. Does anyone have any questions?
No, ma.
All right, so that being said, I'm going to send my trading markups to the group. I think I might just send it to the channel and send some. I'll send some to the channel and then send some to the group by tomorrow evening, when I fully mark up the charts, and then get back to you guys on what trades we are taking this week, and then send some to the signal group when the market opens, and then we have all our setups. So have a good night, have a good Sunday, have a cozy day tomorrow, and go to church. If you have to go to church, go to church. Don't let the rain stop you. Don't let the rain stop you. Go and listen to the word of God. So
Okay, ma. We'll go to church.
My own church is online, so normally. So you guys take care.
Good night, ma'am.
Thank you very much.